Hey, Mr. DJ.
Sort of went to the piano, found the chords to it.
Hey, you want to form a band? I play guitar.
Writing songs is just trying to grab some of that power for yourself.
I've had no formal training in songwriting at all.
I remember writing that in the kitchen. I remember the actual process.
Something so deeply moving about the song and so timeless.
Get out of the way of the music.
23 past 10 on 12:33 ABC Newcastle. Antonino Tati is here, music guru, editor of Cream magazine. Hi there, Antonino.
Hey, Jenny. How you going?
Good. Thank you for putting ABBA on the radar this morning. We really needed a bit of ABBA today, I think.
Yeah, something came to mind, though. I sort of figured, this late 70s, ABBA had a lot of on-again, off-again relationships with one another.
Yes.
A bit like the Liberal Party this morning. What do you think?
Yes,
you can't go until the record's finished. Do you know what I mean?
We've got splits and alliances and things happening in different situations. Very interesting. ABBA as compared to the Liberal government here today on 12:33. Antonino, what made you want to talk about ABBA in particular?
Oh, well, they're sort of rearing their head again in pop culture. Obviously, you know about Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, the movie.
Ah, yes.
And then Cher went on and made a whole covers album. And they're just never going away, really, are they? They're sort of always on point, which is kind of weird for a disposable, throwaway pop sound. You would think it had its time in the late 70s and be done and dusted. But it's always here, and it's here again in 2018.
And so it just feels like every generation that has come since the one that first discovered ABBA, every generation that's come has latched on and loved it as well.
Yeah, and they even see a bit of the dagginess in some of the fashions and some of the, lyrics in the songs, but they see the irony about it as well.
Yes.
No matter, Gen Y, Gen Z, it's all good.
They're all about the irony, those kids. So, Antonino, we've got some covers of ABBA songs as well as, some of the originals, because we couldn't talk about ABBA without hearing, who are they? Benny, Bjorn, Agneta, and who's the other one?
And Frida.
And Frida, of course. So we'll hear a little bit of the original stuff as well, of course. Now, Portishead, this is not the kind of band that I would expect to be influenced by ABBA.
No, and if they were, I'm sure I didn't think they'd want to reveal it.
Indeed.
But Beth, the lead singer of the band, is actually a big ABBA fan. She loved the sort of torch song element to some of the songs. You sort of think ABBA was all shiny pop, but they weren't. There were some tragic circumstances, like Money, Money, Money was really about a woman who just wasn't sort of happy enough for the hard work she was putting in. People thought it was just some wealthy woman, but she was putting hard work in and her finances weren't in surplus, and therefore she was looking for a, rich dude to sort of make the work she was doing worth it. People just thought it was some decadent woman. But so Beth from Portishead liked the darker aspects, and so she chose SOS and sort of performed a stripped back trip-hop version, for want of a better term.
Trip-hop. Now, a lot of people listening to 12:33 this morning may not be familiar with that genre. What is that?
If you kind of imagine hip-hop, where it's more of spoken word meets rap, but then you go even, I suppose, grungier in sound and have it sound like there's a, raw stylist record going on in the background. Give it a bit of a sort of snazzy feel, as well as a darker undertone. You've kind of got the meaning of trip-hop there, yeah.
Okay, well, let's hear a little bit of Portishead, their version of SOS. Something a little different.
Where are those happy days? They seem so hard to find. I tried to reach for you, but you have closed your mind. Whatever happened to our love? I wish I understood. It used to be so nice, it used to be so good.
Portishead with a cover of ABBA's SOS.
Did you
Antonino.
hear those scratchy bits? You heard the
Yeah.
scratchy sort of, very sort of darker than
Yeah.
ABBA's version, that's for sure.
It's fascinating. I just had to keep listening to the end of the chorus just to see what would happen.
It's sort of, yeah, exactly. She sort of goes on to torch song. And you do want to hear what the outcome is of that song, but
Yes.
it's probably a really sad one, so I'm glad we didn't finish it.
Yes. Of course, people will be more familiar with the original, which sounds a little bit more like this.
You make me feel alive, but something died, I feel. I really tried to make it out. I wish I understood what happened to our love. It used to be so good. So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me? SOS. The love you gave me, nothing else can save me. SOS.
ABBA's SOS. You know, Antonino, there's a Canberra link to be made there too, probably.
Yeah, help, big help needed right now. But the thing with that ABBA is when they got to their choruses, they might have been singing about sad stuff in the verses, but when they got to their choruses, they actually sang those about the traumas in an uplifting mode. So SOS is a cry for help, as everybody knows, but the way those drums and cymbals come into it and the way the girls are sort of, singing melodiously about help me now.
Yeah.
It's going, hang on, are they happy or are they sad and really needing help here? Whereas Portishead's version was kind of like monotone.
Yes.
And so that's what people liked about ABBA. They sang about emotional issues and everyday, dramas. But then when it came to the choruses, we can pull through with this. Like the girl that wanted money. She was sort of, going, money, money, money. And it's this dramatic, operatic, up in the air aria as opposed to, oh, give me some money, please. I need it right now.
Yeah, I wonder, Antonino, if it's those kind of soulful verses with a bit of depth and emotion to them, paired with those catchy, cheerful sounding choruses, if that's what it is that we really latch onto.
Yeah, it is because, we all go through having to pay bills and through, dramas of everyday life, but we want to cope and live through that. And so the choruses help us live through that, really.
Now, we've got another song, another cover of theirs, and I've got to say, this is something really quite out of left field here. Tell me about this one, the Money song.
I love this. Yeah, I think we did a story on sampling a couple of months ago, Jenny, and this song is laden with samples and some very good ones. It's taken lyrics about money from various songs and sort of starts off with ABBA's Money, Money, Money being the most familiar. And what it just cleverly combines it, and it's called the Money Song. It takes bits from a song by the Flying Lizards called Money, That's All I Want, which I'm sure listeners are going to find familiar, and also a bit of Red Hot Chili Peppers and a bit of Jay-Z's More Money, More Problems. But they'll sort of, you'll pick up the fun of it all.
Yeah, and look, I do have to give you a little mild language warning on this one. Just a little taste here of the Money song.
There's a hole in my pocket, my pocket, my pocket. There's a hole in my pocket, my pocket, my pocket. There's a hole in my pocket, my pocket, my pocket. There's a hole in my pocket.
Money, cash, money, cash, money, cash, money, cash.
More money, more cash, more hoes. 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 More money, more cash, more hoes.
There's things in life for free.
Cash my shit.
You can give them to the birds and bees.
Cash my shit. Money. Cash machine to get a ticket home. A message on the screen says don't make plans, you're broke. No, this can't be right. I know the times is tight. I've only just been paid 3 weeks, 5 days till I see right.
The Money Song. There they are. Antonino. There's a lot going on in there.
There is. But that's you discover gems as you play a song like that more and more. So that's what I love about it.
Of course, Money, 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 one of those classic ABBA ones that always seems to come on at a wedding or, at a disco. There's always going to be a little bit of money, money, money.
Yeah, fun fact about that song. Did you know it was supposed to have been called well, this is debatable amongst ABBA fans. Either Money, Money, Money or Gimme, Gimme, Gimme. Either one was going to be called Been and Gone and Done It.
Oh.
It's sort of like probably a popular working title for ABBA when they didn't want to reveal the title of the song until it was finished. But the funny thing is, if you notice, a lot of ABBA songs anyway have repetitive words. Honey, honey, money, money, money,
yes.
gimme, gimme, gimme. I mean, that alliteration and that sort of repetitiveness is something that made them popular also. I mean, it was done by default, because English was their second language, wasn't it?
Oh,
they were
yes,
Swedish.
of course. Here's a little bit of money, money, money. Antonino Tati is talking music with us here on 12:33. And you know what, Antonino?
You can do a Canberra segue again. No, go on.
I was actually going to say that song, it always finds a spot on ABC Radio during budget time, during times of financial crisis. What's going on with the markets? Do our little story. We'll play a bit of that song. Everyone loves a little bit of money, money, money.
Yeah, it's something we have to think about every day, don't we? From catching a bus with a coin in our pocket to, doing the big things at the end of financial year. But, yeah. But again, that alliteration, that repetitiveness, it's something that made the songs popular. And to this very day, really, isn't it?
Yes.
If they'd even take international words and put them poetically into song, like they sort of played on French words as well, for example.
Yeah, well, let's talk Voulez-Vous. Can we talk about this one? Because there's a cover here that you've shared with us at, I should say, 25 to 11 on 12:33 ABC Newcastle. We're talking music. We're also keeping an eye on Canberra. If the situation changes there, we will let you know about it straight away. But we've got the latest news for you at 11. So, Antonino, playing with French here in Voulez-Vous.
Yeah, I mean, France isn't too far away from Sweden in Europe, but as ABBA became more and more popular, they started travelling the world. They were one of the first bands that actually broke it in 5 continents as opposed to just 2. And ultimately, they had to perform at those places, and so France was one of the first places they went to, and then they came back and sort of liked the sound of the words and language and came up with the song Voulez-Vous, which translates to do you want me? I think it is. Yeah, do you want or do you want me? It could be more specific. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit sort of cheeky. It was a hit pretty much across the board. In Australia, like top 10 in lots of European countries. But in Australia, it only reached 79, which is quite a surprise.
79?
Yeah, they're not even in the top 40, 79. Here's a sort of fun fact. It was ABBA's very first disco-sounding song. Oh. And, that was at its peak in 1979 when the single was released.
It's been covered by Culture Club.
Yeah, Boy George and Co. did it.
When did they do this?
I think it was like early 90s.
Okay.
Around the time, Erasure, another sort of queer pop band, they kind of did it too around the 90s, but they had more top 10 success with it. Mm-hmm. But Boy George's version is a bit rarer, so I thought maybe we'd play that one because people know his voice, really.
Yes, let's hear a little bit of it. Culture Club's version of Voulez-Vous.
A sense of expectation hanging in the air. Giving out a spark. Across the room, your eyes are glowing in the dark. And here we go again, we know the start, we know the end. Masters of the sea. We've done it all before and now we're back to get some more. Hey, you know what I mean. Voulez-vous. Take it now or leave it. Now is all we get. Nothing promised, no regret. Ain't no
Culture Club's version of Voulez-Vous, very disco, Antonino.
Yeah, and did you know, even though it was released in 1979, it was the only ABBA song that was remixed and released in 12-inch remix format.
Ooh.
Very ahead of its time. I mean,
Very
remixes
much so.
weren't big until the mid-'80s, so
Yes.
they were quite, progressive, really.
Antonino, it's 22 to 11. We have a couple of minutes left to enjoy a little bit more ABBA. And you mentioned Cher a little earlier, her album of covers, which does include one from ABBA. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, Gimme 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 is a single she's just released in the past couple of weeks. It's a song that Madonna sampled too in her single Hung Up. And it just has this riff that is really, really addictive and catchy. And more recently, of course, it was, on the Cher album. But like most ABBA songs, it's been translated into lots of different languages. My favourite being the very demanding sounding Spanish version of Dame, Dame, Dame.
Oh.
And you can sort of imagine exclamation marks going on all over the joint there. But, yeah. So it's just, again, it's sort of one of those demanding songs, again, a woman that is needing something more in a relationship, if not outside of that relationship. And so, yeah, she's demanding that she wants her man after midnight, really. It speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Indeed. Let's hear a little bit of Cher with Gimme, Gimme, Gimme.
And I'm watching the late show in my flat all alone. Oh, I hate to spend the evening on my own. Looking outside the window as I look around the room, and it makes me so depressed to see the gloom. There's not a soul out there, no one to hear my prayer.
Cher with her version of Gimme, Gimme, Gimme. As we talk ABBA here on 12:33, ABC Newcastle with Antonino Tati. Antonino, what Cher wants, Cher gets.
Certainly. And then she goes and makes, not mockery, but she does a lot of special vocal effects over her songs, doesn't she, since Believe?
Yes.
And you can sort of hear the echoes going on there. I don't know if ABBA would have wanted that or wanted it in more of a pure form. What do you think? Do you think ABBA
I don't know.
liked what she's done with it?
I don't know. I feel like they might enjoy people playing around and giving it a new life.
Yeah, or maybe just the fact they're making money out of all of these
They
covers.
don't have
They
to
don't
do
really care what they
anything.
hear.
They can just sit back and relax.
Well, they came on board. They became the producers of the latest Mamma Mia movie that's out in cinemas. So they actually thought they'd have more connection to the production. That's why,
Okay.
yeah. And now, and I believe they're also going to be, the band is going to be touring next year, but in the format of holographs. Is it holograms?
Holograms?
Holograms, yeah.
Like a projected image.
That's right, to look three-dimensional on stage. And so you've got to give it to any artist that is able to, go on tour without even leaving the house, don't you?
That's the idea. That's what we all dream of, isn't it?
Go to work without leaving, yeah.
I'm one of the biggest pop stars in the world. I just let people cover my songs, let the royalties roll in, and sure, I'll go on tour, but I won't actually be there. It'll just be my image.
Well, this is what apparently is going to happen. So whether people buy tickets to go see a fake band, I don't know. I probably would like to see them in the flesh performing live, really.
Yeah, but if you can't see him in the flesh, if you see him in hologram, is that the next best thing, maybe?
I suppose so. Yeah.
Antonino, it's nearly time for us to wrap up our ABBA chat today. We've got one last tune to play. Tell me about this one.
Again, something that sort of repeats in song title. This one's called Ring Ring. And the clever thing about the track we've chosen, though, is that it's a bit of a mash between ABBA's Ring Ring and then Blondie's Hanging on the Telephone, which is also asking the same question. You know, I'm waiting here by the phone, give us a call, please.
Yeah.
And so, it's interesting how these two kind of end up being able to be aligned in song structure as well. And,
Who's done
again,
this?
A great fun. The mashup itself?
Yeah.
I can't recall. Okay. It's sort of like these things are done in sort of people's sort of bedroom, back room, and then they're kind of unleashed underground, and then we get our hands on them and comment on them artistically, of course.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So,
we'll hear a little bit of it. Antonino, thank you so much for bringing a bit of ABBA into our day today. It's always great to hear from you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Antonino Tati, music guru and writer, editor of Cream Magazine.